Picture this. A man walks into a room. He says almost nothing. People fall silent. They do not know why, but they do not dare to interrupt him. He is not the loudest voice in the room, nor the most flamboyant figure. He carries no obvious symbols of power or wealth. Yet his presence commands the space like gravity pulls the earth. In a world addicted to noise, applause, and empty confidence, this kind of presence is power, not because it seeks attention, but because it does not need it. We have all witnessed the opposite. The man who talks too much, desperate to be heard, who boasts and insists on his control. We see through this performance. We feel the weakness it tries to hide. Machiavelli understood this paradox better than most. Power is not in volume. It lives in restraint, in quiet certainty that explains nothing and demands no approval. But ask yourself, what if you could master that presence? What if you could command fear and respect without ever raising your voice, without forcing a single thing? Imagine walking into a meeting, speaking only when necessary, choosing your words like a surgeon chooses a blade. People lean in not because you demand it, but because you earn it with stillness, with observation, with precision. This is the kind of power that emperors feared, and Machiavelli taught princes how to wield it. In this moment, you will discover the silent strategies buried in the prince, subtle, lethal tactics that bypass bravado and go straight to the root of influence. This is not manipulation, nor is it performance. It is something deeper, older, wiser. It is the Stoic sword kept, sheathed, the control of self, space, and narrative. Real power does not need to announce itself, it simply is. This is the art of invisible dominance, the quiet strength no one teaches you, until now. What follows may not shout, but it will change how you walk into every room from this day forward. Niccolò Machiavelli, the father of political realism, grasped a truth that still echoes through the corridors of power today. People do not respond to who you truly are, but to what you represent. This distinction is subtle, yet it holds the key to silent influence. The power lies not in your actions alone, but in the impressions you create and the meanings others assign to you. This is the first step in understanding the quiet strength that rules without shouting. Machiavelli declared, "It is not necessary to be good, only to appear good." Here he unravels a profound insight. Appearances shape reality far more than the substance beneath them. Silence, far from weakness, becomes a tool of control. When you speak less, you grant others the space to fill the void with their own perceptions. The silence you wield is not emptiness, but a canvas on which power is painted by the minds of those who observe you. Consider the example of a boss who speaks rarely in meetings, yet commands the room the moment his voice breaks the quiet. His words carry weight not because of their volume or quantity, but because his silence has built an aura of authority. Every eye turns to him, every thought sharpens. The room leans in, not to catch more noise, but to catch the meaning behind his restraint. His power is silent but absolute. This is where the twist reveals itself. The quieter you become, the more people project onto you. In that silence, others imagine greatness, mystery, or even danger. They fill the gaps with stories, more potent than facts. You become a figure larger than life, not through boasting or display, but through strategic absence. It is a paradox. By revealing less, you gain more. The unknown becomes a force to be reckoned with, a source of respect or fear. Either way, you win. Power is not earned by explaining, defending, or justifying. It is claimed in the impressions you leave behind, in the questions you refuse to answer, and in the controlled image you project. Every word you do not speak adds to your authority. Every silence deepens the aura around you. This mastery of perception becomes the weapon that secures influence without conflict. Ask yourself now, what if people respected you more precisely because you revealed less? What if your silence spoke louder than words? The true challenge is not to fill every moment with noise, but to craft a presence so compelling that your absence of speech becomes its own message. This is the silent power of perception, an art Machiavelli mastered, and one you can embody in every interaction, transforming how others see you and how you hold your place in any room. Machiavelli wrote with stark clarity, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Yet he warned those who seek power, never be hated. This delicate balance reveals the emotional depth of true influence. Fear without hatred commands respect. Fear mingled with resentment breeds rebellion. Many mistake this lesson, believing aggression or loud dominance will secure their place. They mistake noise for strength. But Machiavelli's approach is far colder, quieter, and infinitely more effective. True fear does not roar. It whispers, through unpredictable calm, through the restraint of power deliberately withheld. It is the silence after a threat, a stillness pregnant with potential force, that unsettles the mind far more than any outburst. Fear rooted in control is not a reaction to anger, but a response to certainty. When power is held in reserve, it becomes a weapon sharper than any sword. The fear it inspires is lasting because it is not impulsive. It is calculated, deliberate, and invisible until unleashed. Think of the man who never loses his temper, who remains unmoved by provocation, yet strikes with surgical precision when the moment demands. This man is feared, not because he shouts or threatens, but because his silence contains a promise of inevitable consequence. His restraint builds a fortress of unpredictability around him. People fear the unknown more than the known. His calm becomes a shadow that grows larger with every moment he holds it. Here lies the twist. Restraint itself builds mystique. The controlled reaction, the patience to wait for the perfect moment, inspires more fear than any loud display of dominance. The man who yells often is expected to yell again. The man who does not yell is feared because no one knows when or if he will unleash his power. This is power wrapped in a quiet shroud, a presence that commands respect without the need for spectacle. Machiavelli studied Cesare Borgia, a man who understood this well. Borgia once executed his cruelest enforcer in public, not out of justice, but to sow fear without inviting blame. It was a calculated act of cruelty designed to demonstrate power while maintaining his own image. By punishing his own harshest agent, Borgia sent a message. No one, not even the most feared, was beyond his control. This act did not breed hatred because it was both just and merciless. It reinforced authority without personal animosity. Fear, controlled and purposeful, became a tool of governance. So how can you embody this lesson? How can you become feared without being hated? The answer lies in mastering restraint. Show strength in silence. Make your actions deliberate, your words measured. Do not react to provocations with anger, but respond with calm and precision. Let your presence hint at power, not demand it outright. Fear that lasts is born from respect earned, not from intimidation forced. In this balance, you will find influence that endures. You will command rooms without raising your voice, lead without creating enemies, and wield power without losing yourself. To be feared without being hated is not cruelty, it is wisdom. It is the quiet mastery of presence that turns potential threats into unspoken laws, shaping the world around you without a single shout. Chasing respect often pushes it further away. The more we seek approval, the more it slips through our fingers, like water. This paradox is not new, yet few understand its depths. Machiavellian influence, however, is earned not by desperate pleas or constant display, but through deliberate detachment, a calm that signals confidence without demand. This detachment is not coldness or arrogance. It is a profound self-sufficiency that draws others in effortlessly, a magnetic force born from inner steadiness rather than outward show. Consider the quiet one in the group, the man who never brags or boasts. He says little, yet when he speaks, all eyes turn. Why? Because his presence carries weight that words cannot match. He holds no neediness, no frantic attempt to prove his worth. Instead, he embodies a certainty so complete that others lean in, compelled by the unspoken promise of wisdom and strength. His respect is not purchased by performance. It is freely granted because he does not seem to require it. This is the first secret. Respect blossoms naturally when it is not chased but allowed to grow in the fertile soil of self-possession. Respect comes when people sense unshakable presence, a self-sufficiency that transcends circumstance. It is not the loud claim of superiority, but the quiet embodiment of dignity and control. This presence does not bend to external forces, nor seeks their approval. It stands firm, anchored in a deep understanding of one's own value. When you carry yourself without desperation, without craving approval, you become a figure others instinctively trust and admire. Such respect is not fragile or fleeting. It is rooted in something far more substantial than applause or agreement. Here lies a twist that turns common assumptions on their head. When you stop trying to prove your worth, others are forced to calculate it on their own. Without your constant assurances, they begin to fill in the blanks with their perceptions. More often than not, they overestimate your value. This space you create by withholding constant self-promotion becomes fertile ground for respect to grow in unexpected ways. Your silence speaks louder than any claim. The less you reveal, the more your presence expands in the minds of others, taking on a gravity that words alone could never achieve. Machiavelli's teaching to rulers was clear: act with dignity in public, but plot in private. Influence is not about loud displays or open declarations. It is about deliberate action, measured steps, and strategic restraint. Public dignity protects your reputation, while private calculation secures your power. Together, they form the backbone of lasting influence. This balance between what is shown and what is concealed creates an aura of mystery that makes others curious and cautious. When you are not an open book, you become a puzzle worth solving, a force worth respecting. Think of a chess master who never reveals his strategy until the critical moment. His silence conceals plans so intricate that opponents cannot anticipate his moves. He does not waste energy defending every minor decision or proving his skill to every spectator. Instead, he moves deliberately with purpose, letting his victories speak for themselves. This is the essence of gaining respect without seeking approval, the mastery of restraint, patience, and quiet confidence. What would your life look like if you stopped chasing admiration and started commanding it? Imagine walking through the world free from the need to prove yourself at every turn, yet still holding the undeniable presence that draws respect naturally. This shift transforms relationships, elevates leadership, and reshapes the way you engage with every challenge. No longer caught in the exhausting cycle of seeking validation, you become a steady center amid chaos, a person whose worth is acknowledged not because it is broadcasted, but because it is undeniable. This transformation is not about withdrawing or becoming aloof. It is about becoming grounded in your own value so deeply that external approval becomes irrelevant. When you no longer depend on others to define you, you gain a power that is unshakable. This power shifts the dynamic. Others move to meet you on your terms. Respect flows to you instead of being demanded, and influence grows quietly but surely. Respect, then, is not a prize to be chased, but a natural consequence of embodying self-sufficiency. It is the silent currency of those who understand that their worth is inherent, not granted by the applause or acceptance of others. This realization frees you to act from a place of strength rather than fear, to lead without seeking followers, and to live with the calm assurance of one who knows their place in the world. In this way, the quiet mastery of influence becomes a path to true freedom. Freed from the need to prove, you gain the power to shape your destiny with clarity and purpose. Freed from desperation, you become the steady presence that commands any room you enter. Freed from doubt, you carry a dignity that invites respect, naturally, effortlessly, without compromise. So ask yourself, what would your life become if you no longer chased admiration but simply commanded it? What would change if your presence alone was enough to hold the attention, inspire confidence, and earn respect? This is the power Machiavelli offers. Not the hollow power of noise, but the deep power of presence, restraint, and self-possession. Step into it and watch how the world begins to move in response. True power is not noise, it is tension. It is not relentless action, but a state of readiness that holds everything in balance. It is the invisible force that ripples beneath the surface, the stillness before a storm, the silent weight that bends the will of those around you. Power is not the clamor of boasting or the demand for attention. It is the quiet certainty that shapes reality without uttering a word. To understand power in this way is to step beyond the common illusions of strength, beyond the loud proclamations, the visible displays, the desperate need to be seen and heard. You may have believed that fear comes from dominance, from the loud assertion of control. But Machiavelli reveals a deeper truth. Fear arises from the unknown, from the calculated calm of a mind that chooses when and how to strike. It is the power kept in reserve, the strategy unseen yet palpably felt, a presence so measured and controlled that it unsettles the world before a single move is made. This power thrives in what is left unspoken, in the moments between actions where tension is thick enough to be felt, yet no one knows what will come next. The uncertainty it breeds is not chaos, it is order wrapped in mystery, a controlled force that commands without command. Imagine walking through life with such command that you never need to explain yourself. People measure their words around you, aware that your silence carries more weight than any argument. You radiate danger and wisdom, not through noise, but through a profound quiet. Your presence alone shapes the room, bending reality with the strength of what is left unsaid. In every gathering, the pause before your voice commands attention. In every conflict, the restraint before your action freezes opponents in hesitation. This is power beyond spectacle. It is influence rooted in the very fabric of perception. The room falls silent when you enter, not because they know you, but because they sense you. The invisible force you carry speaks louder than any speech or gesture. It moves like a shadow, subtle yet undeniable, turning the eyes of the crowd toward you without a single word. This is the art of silent power, an influence that demands respect without demand, fear without hatred, and admiration without approval. It is the power to bend the course of events simply by being, by holding your place with unwavering presence. This kind of power changes how you live. It changes how you engage with others, with challenges, with the unpredictable chaos of life itself. When you no longer need to explain or justify, you become untouchable. Your reputation precedes you not through gossip or exaggeration, but through a shared understanding of your quiet strength. You embody the lesson that the greatest forces often move silently beneath the surface, invisible yet unstoppable. So ask yourself, do you want to be the loudest voice in the room, or the one whose silence speaks louder? The choice is yours. True mastery lies not in noise, but in the stillness that commands everything around it. It lies in the readiness to act with precision and the wisdom to hold back until the moment is right. This is the path of the wise, the powerful, the truly influential. Walk it well. Respect is never handed to those who beg for it. It belongs only to those who stand without need, whose presence alone demands acknowledgement. Fear is not born from empty threats or loud words. It springs from precision, from the measured force behind a calm exterior. This is the path Machiavelli laid before us, the path of silent mastery where power is quiet, deliberate, and unyielding. Use silence as your shield and restraint as your weapon. Speak less to be heard more. Move deliberately, leaving others uncertain of your next step. People cannot manipulate what they cannot read. They fear what they cannot predict. This unpredictability is your greatest asset, the invisible thread that pulls the world in your direction without a single shout. When you master this, you hold the ultimate advantage, power not through force, but through presence. If this video shifted how you see power, share it with someone who needs this lesson, someone who tries too hard to be heard, or someone who underestimates the strength in their quiet. Let them discover that influence does not require noise. It demands only presence, restraint, and the wisdom to let silence speak volumes. Remember, true power does not ask for respect. It commands it. It does not seek fear. It inspires it through control. It does not chase approval. It moves with certainty, unbothered by the world's clamor. Now comment below, I move in silence. Let the world talk. Let them wonder. You have already won. In the quiet mastery of your own presence lies a power far greater than any shout. Step into it and let the silence be your voice.